hope you've had a chance to look at section 3.1 and look at some of the examples in the software and maybe look at the video from section 3.1 of the software. I'm not going to go over all the different kinds of compound statements. I have them listed here, the main ones, and, or, not, if, then, the symbols that we use for those, and then kind of a word that describes them. So an and is a conjunction, etc., etc. But what I want to emphasize in this video is one of the things that seems easy that a lot of people have trouble with, and that is negating a certain kind of statement. So let's start off kind of easy. My teacher is old. So that's a simple statement. It's not an and, it's not an or, it's not a not, it's not an if then. And we can use it, we can make an and statement. We could have like, my teacher is old and he is smart. That's two statements, two simple statements. My teacher is old and he is smart, combined together with an and. You could make an or, my teacher is old or he is smart. But I want to look at negations, because negations are kind of the opposite, and almost everybody thinks they're easy. So, my teacher is old. The negation of that statement would be, my teacher is not old. If this is a true statement, then this one will be false. If this one is a false statement, then this one will be true. They're negations of each other. They have the opposite truthfulness of each other. And so many people start to think that all you have to do is throw a not in there somewhere and you have a negation of a statement. And that works a lot of the time, but it doesn't work all the time. So let's take a particular kind of statement. Some teachers are old. I'd like you to think about that, and I'd like you to think about what the negation of it's going to look like. While you're thinking, I'm going to draw a little picture. This circle contains the people that are teachers. This circle contains people that are decidedly old. And so I have these pieces right here. These are some of the teachers being old. And that's this statement. So this is kind of a picture of this statement. Now I'd like you to draw an opposite statement. So this is wrong, but it's very normal. Some teachers are not old. The person who writes this is kind of fixated on throwing a not in there, but they're not really thinking about what this means. You know, these are supposed to be opposites. If one's a negation of the other, they're supposed to be opposites. They're not supposed to have the same picture. But look, here are some teachers that are not old. And here's some teachers that are old. And in no way are those opposites. They kind of can mean the same thing. They don't mean exactly the same thing, but they can mean the same thing. So a way of looking at negation is, what has to happen for this to be false? If I think it's false that some teachers are old, what has to happen? No teachers are old. Some teachers are old. The negation of that is no teachers are old. That means the teacher circle and the old people circle would be completely separate. And that's a different setting. So negating some involves none. Negating all, if I say all people are good. Well, that's kind of an optimistic point of view, but if I say all people are good, what's the negation of that? It's not really that all people are bad. That's not necessarily the negation. The negation of it is that some people are bad. In other words, it really only takes one bad person to prove that this statement's wrong, or 2 or 3 or 4 bad people to prove that it's wrong. So the negation of this is kind of what has to happen to prove this is wrong. And that's a pretty tricky idea.